The NBA Draft Combine is where everything changes. It's the one event that can turn a no-name into a top pick or send a hyped-up prospect crashing down the board. And this year's Combine didn't disappoint. We saw players boost their stock overnight and others get exposed under the spotlight. So today we're breaking down the 7 biggest winners and losers of the 2025 NBA Draft Combine. Let's start with one of the biggest winners, literally. Kaman Malawak showed up and reminded everyone why he's a projected top 5 pick. Listed at 7 feet tall with a ridiculous 7'6" wingspan, he was the most physically imposing player at the Combine. But it wasn't just size. His mobility, fluidity in drills, and ability to knock down mid-range jumpers separated him from the pack. In an era where mobile bigs who can stretch the floor are gold, Kaman looked like the prototype. Scouts left the gym buzzing. His measurements, physical tools, and raw skill checked every box. If there was any doubt before, there isn't now. Kaman Malawak is the real deal. Next up, one of the biggest surprises, and not in a good way. Ace Bailey came into the Combine with sky-high expectations. He was billed as a 6'10" shot maker with elite athleticism, a modern NBA wing in every sense. But once the official measurements came in, the hype started to crack. Bailey measured just 6 feet 7.5 inches without shoes, with a wingspan under 7 feet. That's a full 2 inches shorter than expected. And then came the vertical test, just 34 inches. Not terrible, but not elite either, especially for a player known for highlight reel dunks and explosive play. In the shooting drills, Bailey was average at best. He struggled from deep and didn't separate himself in live play. For a player once projected in the top 3, that's a problem. Now, this doesn't mean he's falling out of the lottery. He's still young, athletic, and has tools you can't teach. But the Combine didn't do him any favors. Instead of locking in a top spot, Ace Bailey raised questions. And in a setting like this, that makes you a loser. Now let's talk about a name that turned serious heads, Walter Clayton Jr. Coming out of Florida, Clayton was already on draft boards thanks to his March Madness performance. But what he did at the Combine might have just made him one of the biggest risers in the class. Clayton absolutely torched the shooting drills. He went 20 for 25 in spot-up shooting and hit 17 of 25 in the star drill. Some of the best numbers of the week. But it wasn't just stats. His shot looked smooth, compact, and repeatable. Every scout in the building was locked in. And then you add in the physical profile, 6'2", 6'5" wingspan, strong frame, and solid lateral quickness in the agility drills. He measured like a true NBA combo guard. The buzz around Clayton started quiet, but by the end of the week, it was loud. Teams looking for shooting, toughness, and backcourt depth are circling his name. He's gone from a second-round sleeper to a legit mid-to-late first-round candidate. Walter Clayton Jr. didn't just show up, he showed out. Not every big man helped their stock, and Derek Queen might have been the most disappointing front-court name at the Combine. Coming in, Queen had a reputation. Highly skilled, high IQ, and polished offensively. But once the drills started, the flaws became hard to ignore. First, the measurements. He checked in at just 6'9", with a 6'10" wingspan, undersized for a true NBA center. Then came the athletic testing. Queen posted a 28-inch vertical and struggled badly in the lane agility and shuttle drills. On tape, he's never looked like an elite mover, but the Combine confirmed what scouts feared. He lacks NBA-level explosiveness. In scrimmages, he got pushed around by longer, more athletic bigs. And defensively, he was late on rotations and struggled to defend in space. Queen still has touch, passing vision, and feel. But the combine was supposed to quiet concerns about his mobility and size. Instead, it amplified them. He's still on the board as a potential late first rounder, but after this showing, more teams are asking, can Derek Queen hang physically at the next level? Every year, there's a prospect who comes into the combine under the radar and leaves as a name you have to know. This year, that was Cedric Coward. Coward wasn't on many mock drafts coming into the week. A quiet season at Washington State and an injury that cut his years short made him more of a mystery than anything else. But the combine gave him the spotlight, and he didn't waste it. First, the measurements. 6 feet 5 inches with a jaw-dropping 7 feet 2 inches wingspan. That's elite length for a wing. Then came the shooting drills, and he absolutely lit it up. Coward finished top 10 in nearly every major category, including spot-up and movement shooting. He also looked smooth in agility drills, showing the kind of lateral quickness and balance teams love in 3-and-D prospects. Combine all that with his physical tools, and you've got a sleeper rising fast. Scouts left saying the same thing. If he stays healthy and keeps this momentum, Cedric Coward could go from unknown to second-round steal, or maybe even higher. Next up is a player who had real buzz heading into the week, but couldn't back it up when the lights came on. Colin Murray Boyles had a strong freshman season at South Carolina. He's built like an old-school forward with toughness, physicality, and defensive upside. But the combine exposed some serious limitations that could hurt his draft outlook. First, the measurements. Just 6 feet 6.5 without shoes, with a 6'9" wingspan. That's undersized for a big, and not quite long enough for a true wing either. Then came the shooting numbers, and they were rough. He went just 7 for 25 in the spot-up shooting drill and didn't fare much better in movement shooting. Add that to a subpar vertical and defensive grit. But in today's NBA, you need more than effort. You need spacing, versatility, and fit. Right now, his offensive game just isn't there. The tools are intriguing, but the combine showed he's a project, not a plug-and-play prospect. Next up is a player who had real buzz heading into the week, but couldn't back it up when the lights came on. Colin Murray Boyles had a strong freshman season at South Carolina. He's built like an old-school forward, with toughness, physicality, and defensive upside. But the combine exposed some serious limitations that could hurt his draft outlook. First, the measurements. Just 6 feet 6.5 without shoes, with a 6'9" wingspan. That's undersized for a big, and not quite long enough for a true wing either. Then came the shooting numbers, and they were rough. He went just 7 for 25 in the spot-up shooting drill and didn't fare much better in movement shooting. Add that to a subpar vertical and limited quickness and agility tests, and scouts started to question what his role would be at the next level. There's no denying Murray Boyles brings energy and defensive grit. But in today's NBA, you need more than effort. You need spacing, versatility, and fit. Right now, his offensive game just isn't there. The tools are intriguing, but the combine showed he's a project, not a plug-and-play prospect. Rounding out our list is a name most fans didn't see coming. Pelle Larsson. The Arizona guard wasn't getting much draft buzz heading into the combine. Some had him pegged as a possible two-way guy or undrafted pickup, but that changed fast once he hit the floor in Chicago. Larsson showed out in both the shooting drills and the scrimmages. He was one of the most consistent shooters across all drills. Efficient, quick release, clean mechanics. But it wasn't just catch and shoot. He handled the ball well, made smart decisions, and showed real versatility as a combo guard. Physically, he measured solid, 6 feet 5 inches with a near 6 feet 8 inches wingspan, good frame, and above-average lateral movement. Nothing flashy, but definitely NBA ready. And in the scrimmages, he did what every scout loves. He played winning basketball, defended multiple positions, spaced the floor, made the right reads. Larson may not have the ceiling of a lottery pick, but after this showing, he looks like one of the safest second-round bets in the class, and a guy who could crack a rotation sooner than expected.